What's up, guys? It's your boys from Madden.com, and today we're going to be talking about defensive setups and all the quick feature options you have on defense. This is a comment I get a lot. Like, this is probably my number one comment right now, especially since our number one video right now is a video that Civil broke down on how to stop corner routes, and he didn't exactly explain how to outside third his cornerback. And that's just something I think he assumed that people know how to do, but fact of the matter is a lot of people don't know how to do that. So what I'm going to do is go through all of the defensive adjustments that you have available to you, and I'll be putting them in some kind of documentation in the description of this video. It could be directly in the description, or it could be maybe on a Google Drive doc that I link. Either way, there will be documentation for you guys to reference, so you don't have to watch through the entire video again. So let's get right into it. Doesn't matter what formation we come out in. There are exceptions. I'll briefly go over that later, but for the most part, it doesn't matter. Okay, so there's quick feature or quick setup for each level of the defense, and we have our first level, which is our defensive line, our second level, our linebackers, and then our back end is our last level, the secondary, the entire secondary, including the slot corners and everything. Okay. So how do we access each of them? Let's start with the defensive line. So the way you're going to access any kind of adjustments with your defensive line is you're going to hit D-pad to the left. And you're going to see what happens is this menu in the bottom left is going to open. And we have our ability to shift our D-line. We can either spread them, send them right, pinch them, or send them left. So you just do that with the left stick. As you can see in the menu, left stick up is going to spread. Left stick right is going to send them right or shift them right. Left stick left, of course. And then left stick down is going to pinch them. So that's how you shift your D-line quickly. So it's just D-pad left and left stick to whatever direction you want them to go. Next, you have point of attack. You're going to be using the right stick for this one. You want to crash them out, which is slant outside, right stick up, right stick right for slant right, right stick down for slant inside, right stick left for slant left. Then you also have the option, if you don't like what your shift is, you can just reset your alignment by doing LT. So this one's very self-explanatory. So what you can do, also, the last option in this menu is quick adjust. And what that's going to do, if you hit D-pad to the left one more time, you're going to see that the button icons over each defender come up. So we have X, Y, and A. As you can see in the bottom left, we just select the player that we want. So it's D-pad left twice to open the individual adjustments. And then we'll just select, X. So I'm pretty sure across all formations, the defensive line has the same adjustments when you're doing this. So these are the options you have available to you. For the most part, you're not going to be touching your D-line. They're usually going to be, for pretty much any setup, they're going to be remaining on the rush. There are very rare exceptions where you can put them into a spy. You can technically do any of these if you want to, but the fact of the matter is most people who compete at a high level don't like to do anything to their defensive line besides maybe spying. So I wouldn't say this menu is incredibly useful, but definitely take a look at it for yourself and decide, maybe if you really just want to throw your opponent off, we can just, man up the running back like that. And we'll just see, we'll snap the ball, see what happens. You can see he'll go out and defend the running back. He didn't do a very good job, but he did get off the line and went to defend the running back. So that's the defensive line adjustments. They're pretty simple. Like I said, you're not going to be doing the individual quick adjustments too often unless you want to put them in a spy. You wouldn't do that with your edge defender usually. If you're going to do it with anybody, if you have like 4 down linemen, you'll do it with one of your defensive tackles. But other than that, it's just not something you're going to use too much. So that's the defensive line. Let me just double check to make sure I didn't miss any features. Don't think I did. Okay, I think we're good. So next, let's talk about our linebackers. The defensive line was D-pad left. Linebackers are just D-pad right. And you can see we have the linebacker menu. Very similar to the defensive line, we have the left stick that's going to shift them wherever we point our left stick. Very self-explanatory. Then we have our linebacker assignments, and we have certain features like zone all. I'm pretty sure this will put them all into vert hooks. I'll check in just a second. I don't use it too much. Right outside linebacker blitz is right stick right. Left outside linebacker blitz is right stick left. And then right stick down is going to be a global blitz. That's going to send all of them on a blitz. So let's go ahead and do right stick down. And we see both linebackers are now blitzing. So let's do it again. Right D-pad right. And then we're going to zone all. Let's see if they go into vert hooks. Right stick up. They're in hook curls. So that's going to be the case for, I think, every formation. I'll check 3-4 odd in just a second. But I'm pretty sure they will always go to hook curls. Okay. So D-pad right. It's going to open it again. You're going to see left outside linebacker blitz. Boom, now he's blitzing. So you don't have to move all around with your left stick. You can just use D-pad right, and then let's go ahead and right stick right. Now they're both blitzing. Okay, back in hook curls. It's very simple. You just need to spend a little bit of time in practice mode to like really get used to these features and just know what's available to you. They're not hard. You just have to put some time into it. Okay, so same thing for linebackers. When you open this menu, D-pad right, you're going to see we have the option to clear our shift or to quick adjust. To quick adjust, what you're going to do is D-pad right. So just like D-pad left twice for defensive line, it's D-pad right twice for your quick adjustments, for your individual adjustments. So we have A and X now. So select whatever one you want. We'll do X because I'm not using him. And this is the menu you have for linebackers. All of these are frequently used. Well, I wouldn't say they're all even like frequently used across the board, but all of these will be used by high-level players for the most part. I'd say middle read's not the mid read's not super common, but I've seen it used. So these are the options you have available to you. Middle third, it's going to give you that deep blue between your safeties if you're running the cover 2. And then we have curl flat. We don't have the option for a bluff blitz out of this formation, but usually that's going to be, you have that with your defensive backs. We'll go over them in just a second, but that's pretty much what you have with your linebackers. You can do the man coverage. That's going to be right stick up, and then you're just going to man them up on whatever receiver you want. The thing with middle linebackers is they can be like pretty much cross man. Unlike slot cornerbacks, you can just man this guy up on B, and now you have a cross man. You have quite a few options here at linebacker. So that's going to be it for linebacker. And last, we're going to talk about our secondary. This is the one that a lot of people need to know because you need to know how to have different coverage shells. Like, for instance, the video that Civil went over with how to stop corner routes, it revolves around you being able to adjust an outside third to the bunch side and take away the corner. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, let's talk about all the other options we have. All we're going to do to open this up is going to be Y or triangle, and that's going to be your coverage adjustments. That's basically your secondaries menu. So what you can do is you can give cushion with left stick up, and that's going to just drop everybody back. That's not frequently used because it's just everything is going to be open underneath. Those deep halves aren't going to, they're just not in a position to like be close enough to stop certain routes. It's just not a really good adjustment in my opinion. Now there's going to be some use cases for it, like maybe at the end of a half or something. You could think about it, but overall I would just use like cover 3 deep, or not cover 3 deep, quarters 3 deep. You can press. That's going to bring everybody closer to the line. Obviously your outside cornerback, well your slot cornerbacks too will be pressed. Show blitz is going to be Y and then left stick left. Show blitz, that brings our safeties down. Out of this formation at least. Doesn't do it out of every formation. Base align. I'm sure many of you guys are familiar with this one. Y. left stick right, base align. If you base align twice, it basically resets. So go ahead, press. And that's pretty much it for those adjustments. We also have our right stick. That's going to do shading for us. I will say the thing about shading is I love to do it with man coverage, and I'll show you that in just a second. I love to do it if I, for instance, like I have soft squats on the outside right now, and if I want clouds, I can just do Y and then right stick up, and that's going to give my outside cornerbacks cloud flats instead of soft squats. So if I really want to get a good jam on those receivers, I'll use cloud flats instead. But if I want to kind of have a little bit of a match on the outside, then soft squats will be the better option because they can, man up and stuff. And then, of course, if you do Y and then right stick down, that's going to turn those outside flat zones into hard flats. Your vert hooks will also play more shallow. So it's not just, that's a common misconception. If you shade down underneath, that's not going to just affect your outside flat zones in cover 2. It's also going to affect both these linebackers. You're going to be using one. But, if you put this guy in a vert hook 2 and then you shade underneath, he's going to be playing way more shallow. So I'll put like B on a drag. You'll see that, you see how he gets played by that vert hook? It matters. So the only zone that's not getting affected by that shade underneath are the deep halves. Those do not get affected by shade over the top or shade underneath. Shade inside and outside does affect zones, but I'm not going to go over it simply because there's not an exact logic to the shade outside and inside for the zones. It's somewhat inconsistent, so I'm not going to talk about it. But you guys can play around with the inside-outside shading with zones if you want. I do like it for man coverage, like I said, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But for zones, I don't mess with it too much. I only do the over-the-top and underneath, which is right stick up and right stick down. Okay? So the other options we have man align. So if you do Y and then RB, that's actually one I want to show you versus like a trip set maybe. And you're going to see the difference with man align is it's going to help you it's going to give you proper numbers on the trip side. So we'll do RB. And now we have that cornerback going to the left side. So now we have a 4-on-3 on the left side. So it's going to give us a proper numbers advantage. But as you can see, this now puts this linebacker in a soft squat on the right. But we do have numbers on the left. And I'm pretty sure if you motion B, he will follow. So it can make it look like you're in man coverage. You can really fool your opponent. The only thing about it is you can have kind of funky zones that will, if they get enough time in the pocket, could dot. But that's about it. Sorry about my dog, by the way. So that's man align. That's the feature that a lot of people don't use, but I think is pretty decent, especially if you want to confuse somebody. Or just get good numbers on a trip set. And, it's going to help if you want to stay in zone and not have a bad numbers advantage on the trip side. So that was man align. We also have Y. By the way, that was Y or triangle and then RB. Excuse me. Or R1 on PS4. And then we have Y and then LB or L1 on PS4. And that's going to protect the sticks. So what that'll do is your zones will drop to the first down marker. So if it's 4th and 20 and you want your zones to really get back and to defend the sticks, then that's exactly what it does. I'm pretty sure there's cases with like cover 4 quarters and palms as well, where if you hit Y and then LB on a cover 4 quarters, it turns into a drop, I'm pretty sure. It did last year. I'm not sure about it this year. And then we have the more advanced setups for the secondary menu, which is going to be the quick adjust, which we've already gone over for defensive line and linebackers, and then the individual. The individual is the most advanced thing you can do on defense, and I'll show you in a second. So you hit Y to open this menu. We'll hit Y again. And now we get the same thing where we have icons over every single secondary player. And we can just select the one we want. So we'll do our slot cornerback, which is Y. And then you have this option or these options to mess with. So first I want to talk about bluff blitz because that can be interesting. What that's going to do is actually give you a 3 rec. So what that'll do is, I'm not going to get into tons of X's and O's with this, but that's basically going to defend the number 3 receiver. And right now the number 3 receiver is the running back. So if he goes on any kind of route, like a streak or something, usually he is going to take him. But the number 3 receiver can change post snap. I don't want to get into tons of it. But, a lot of people loved Crossfire because of the 3 rec last year because you can kind of just play things that other things don't. And this is the only way you can get yourself a 3 rec without actually having a stock one. So that's just a little heads up. The thing that I use most often for a slot cornerback, sometimes I use seam flats because they can do certain things against specific routes. But I use man coverage. So that's going to be right stick up. And then you just select the receiver that you want. You can't cross man these guys. They took that away like 2 years ago. So I'll just put them on Hunter Renfrow. And then what I like to do usually is press. And then this one's important. We talked about over the top and underneath. But like if you shade outside, what you're going to see is that guy who's manned up is actually going to be heads up over the receiver now. That's why I like it. And he'll play corner routes and stuff a lot better. So that's why I like the shade outside, especially with man coverage. So, for instance, go to reset. If I just do what I just did, if I man him up like this, you see how he's kind of like taking his inside away? It's just like real football. It's just leverage. If he goes outside, he's going to have a better chance of winning, even in Madden. This is the first year where I'll say shading actually matters with man coverage. Okay, so double tap Y. That's going to open this menu again. And just get a good look at this. Check it out in practice mode. See what adjustments you might like. But as you can see, the slot cornerback has different options than the outside cornerback, which I'm going to talk about. This is actually the outside cornerbacks and the safeties are the most important to know, in my opinion. You have to get really good with them. So double tap Y, and then we're going to go X and B. Are both outside cornerbacks. It doesn't matter. They're going to have the same adjustments. I selected X. So double tap Y, select X. And then you're going to see this menu. So we have hard flat, outside third, soft squat, cloud flat, outside quarter, man coverage, deep half, and blitz. So most people don't blitz their outside corners. It's nice to know it's an option. But the ones that you really need to know, I would say all of them. All of them except for blitz, but you're going to know blitz if you know the rest of them. So how do you outside third? You're going to double tap. It's very simple. Double tap Y, X, and then left stick up. That's all you got to do. Now he's in an outside third. What do you have to do if you want him in an outside quarter? Right stick left. Boom, outside quarter. Do you want him in a deep half? Right stick right. They're all different. They're all very, very different. You just get a little crazier on defense once you get these adjustments down. If you want to man him up, double tap Y, B, right stick up, and then B, shade outside, Y, right stick right. Okay? So these are things that you're going to have to get used to. Hopefully this is making sense. I'm trying to go as slow as I possibly can. Double tap Y, B. And then let's say you want to put him in a soft squat. That's going to be left stick right or D-pad right. Either one. I usually use my D-pad. Let's see. Cloud flat, hard flat. I mean, it's all self-explanatory. You just have to like really open these menus and see what's available to you. But I will say, like, for instance, if I come out and I'll reset. Come out in a cover 2 like this. And I want to turn it into a cover 3 cloud. It's going to be, sorry, before I go into this, I want to talk about the safeties because I don't want to confuse you guys. So we'll go onto a safety, double tap Y, LB, and then you're going to see we have different options for our safeties. We have a deep half, inside third, a hook curl, a curl flat, quarterback spy, man coverage, inside quarter, and blitz. So quarterback spy and blitz aren't going to be used too often. Some people will do that against really heavy runners because they'll play the run a little bit better. They'll crash down better. But the ones you really need to know are man coverage, deep half, inside third, and inside quarter. Those are the most frequently used. You can, of course, use curl flat and hook curl. But those are the most frequently used because you can change your shell by knowing those. So let's say we want to do a cover 3 cloud. And we call a cover 2 play like this. It's very simple. We're going to double tap Y, X, left stick up, double tap Y, LB, and then we're going to do left stick left. Boom. Oh, actually, that's not completely right. We have to double tap Y again and then do a curl flat, left stick right. There we go. Now we have a cover 3 cloud. So you can change your shell, and if they have previous play on, they're going to be confused because they're like, whoa, I thought that he called a cover 2, but it didn't look like a cover 2. You can mess with them a little bit like that. The thing that's somewhat confusing that you're going to have to get used to is you'll notice if you double tap Y, hit X, and then outside third is left stick up. But if you want to do an inside third with your safety, you're going to notice it's inside third, which is left stick left. So it's not up, it's left. That can kind of mess you up sometimes. You just got to get used to that. And then the inside quarter is not with the left stick, so that can be somewhat confusing. So if you want him in that inside quarter, you want to turn this entire. Oh, this is also confusing too. If you do the outside cornerback, which is YYX, right stick left outside quarter, it's different than the safety. It's obviously it's going to be left instead of right. So right stick left outside quarter. Double tap Y, LB, right stick right inside quarter. Then you're going to see it's the same thing for the other two on the other side. So now we have our cover 4. Just like that. Double tap Y, A, left stick right for the curl flat. So that's pretty much it for the actual adjustments. Let me know if you have any comments. I do have more to talk about, but that's pretty much it for the actual individual adjustments. Now, this is the really advanced thing that I personally don't even use much because I'll be honest, I only have a few use cases for it. So you have Y and then A, individual adjustments. And what that's going to do is that'll open up this individual coverage menu. And let's say we want to play off of Antonio Brown. So we'll select X and then we'll do right stick up. That's going to only back off the receiver that's covering Antonio Brown, which that is useful. I use that sometimes. For instance, if I'm playing Tyreek Hill, I mean, you have a really hard time pressing Tyreek Hill unless you're in a cloud flat. You have a safety help over the top. Excuse me. But overall, I mean, I don't use it too much. You have the option for shade left and shade right. So let's go ahead and do the man up onto Y again. We'll press. You notice how the other cornerback didn't press. And then we'll do individual. And then we'll do Hunter Renfrow, which is Y. And then we'll shade left. You see how he jumps over there? So you have that option. Do reset. It's going to bring our cornerback back down. Let's go ahead and press them. Double tap. Sorry, not double tap. Y, A on or X on PS4. B, back off with right stick. Just like that. Back both of them off. Let's go ahead and press both of them. It's simple. Y, A, X, right stick down. Y, A, B, right stick down. It's going to bring both of them back down. So you also have another option called Spotlight Receiver. I'm not going to front. I don't know exactly what it does. I mean, obviously, Spotlight Receiver means pay more attention to him, but I don't know the effect it actually has in the game. I never use it whatsoever. But if you guys want to play around with it, be my guest. If you guys see something interesting with it, definitely let me know. I'll appreciate that. But the only reason I open up this individual menu is if I want to back off my corners off a specific receiver. without actually having to go over there and drag them off myself. So that's pretty much it. I hope that made sense. I did that in pretty much one take. So I know I probably rambled a little bit and it was probably boring for most of you. But if it was helpful, please let me know in the comment section. As always, if there's any questions or requests, you can let me know in the comment section as well. And if you enjoy daily Madden 20 content, make sure you like and subscribe. See you guys later.